Right lads, I'm your host, Man in this Kebab, and I've always been a man to work on a budget, hence why my tripod currently is composed of a toilet roll holder and a roll of sellotape. So what does this mean when it comes to gaming? Well, obviously I can't afford brand new releases, and the second-hand Nintendo market is currently more inflated than the ego of a college student in Amsterdam. So what options does that exactly leave me with? Why are most of these things on the Wii? Licensed games, the art of taking a movie, series, or any sort of media and turning it into a half-arsed game. Oh, get THQ to make it. Licensed games have been around since the dawn of gaming, and since the start, oh boy have they been bad. From E.T. on the Atari 2600 to Superman on the N64, but the licensed game revolution really went full coup de grace in the 6th and 7th generation of consoles. The Xbox 360, PS2, and of course everyone's favourite box of 480p magic, the Nintendo Wii. So today I've taken 6 licensed games from my collection, and through a short review of each, figure out if they're the cream of the crop like GoldenEye or The Simpsons Hit and Run, or if they're just another Harry Potter and the Battle of the Boyne. The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, a third-person action-adventure game developed by Traveller's Tales, the same people who make the LEGO games. And yeah, it's kinda telling, cause this game's essentially just a non-LEGO game, if that makes any sense. This was actually the last non-LEGO game TT ever made too, so it's definitely a good one, right? Well, of course, this game is based around the Chronicles of Narnia movie series, the second one to be exact, and using clips from the movie, which many of these games seem to do. Now, I haven't watched any of these movies in circa 10 years, so the plot is very much hazy to me, but I do remember them being half decent, but they do kind of feel like Disney-fied Lord of the Rings. The game itself, I mean, it's a pretty decent third-person button masher that includes fighting sections, puzzles, and the ability to switch between multiple characters who are all on screen at the same time. It's basically a LEGO game, but not as compelling as a LEGO game. See, LEGO games have a certain amount of humor injected into their cutscenes. It's what makes them special. Meanwhile, this game gives you a cutscene every 4 minutes just because it can. It's not a bad play, and if I had a spare 5 hours, I wouldn't mind playing it, but it is a tad dreary, and the graphics are not the best. Then again, it doesn't force you to use motion controls too much, which is cool. I hate these. So all in all, I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. Avatar: The Legend of Aang. This one very much surprised me. Now let me just clarify, I absolutely loved the original Avatar series. Korra, not so much. But yeah, the original. One of the best animated shows of all time. The game itself is an RPG, a simple one, but fun nonetheless. When I first started playing this, I saw the characters and immediately thought, oh Jesus, this is going to be terrible. But I was pleasantly surprised. It is in 4x3 like the original series, and a few more games on this list, but the art style still works really well, and unusually, they also have the original set of voice actors from the show. The game follows a plot set in between the first 2 series, and has us take control of the cast in an action RPG format with motion controls. Of course, we have airbending and all that jazz mixed in as part of the combat, and yes, some of these involve waggling the Wiimote, which is annoying, but we move. Side quests, customization, a level system. Hey, it's pretty simple, but it's still a fun RPG, and looks alright too. 7.5 out of 10. Wall.e, a platformer based, of course, on the 2008 Wall.e movie, also known as the best Pixar movie. Now, I remember playing the DS version of this game back in the day, and oh boy was that game bullshit. Now, this game is similar. It's also a platform puzzle game in a 3D perspective, although the camera here is almost like that of a shooter. You can take control of Wall.e, Eve, and the rest of the cast as you make cubes, shoot things, and that's about it. It's an okay looking game, pretty good for a licensed game of the Wii, and although it does use motion controls to help you aim, it's a decent game. Possibly a little lacking in gameplay, but great for a younger audience. 6 out of 10. Planet 51. This game was my GTA as a kid. Some people had Chinatown Wars, some people had The Simpsons Hit and Run, and I had Planet 51. This game is an open world game based on the 2009 movie of the same name, and once again follows the plot of the movie, placing you in the shoes of Lem, an alien in this weird 1950s-esque alien world, which is suddenly thrown into chaos by the arrival of a human astronaut, Chuck. The game is essentially just your everyday open world game. Drive around doing main quests and side quests, which can either be races. Yeah, who am I kidding? Most of this is just a variation of racing. Once again, a tad bare bones, but this was clearly designed for a younger audience, and not an Irish young adult with a dangerous affinity for buying crappy games. Anyways, this game controls not great. The Wiimote on its side, also known as this, is not very comfortable or easy to control. Pair this with the fact that you have to drive using motion controls and can't use a nunchuck, it annoys me a lot. But hey, I still had fun playing this. 6 out of 10. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Now this is what I think of when I think licensed game. A story that basically blends the events of the second and third Pirates movies, terrible graphics, forced fucking motion controls, but strangely the voice acting is actually okay, to the point where I actually thought they got Johnny Depp to act in this god-awful game. That was until I heard the voice of Will Turner, but still.
Looking for you, and now saving you apparently.
This game is absolutely littered with pointless motion controls for sword combat, which basically just means swing the Wiimote. Quick time events that are just annoying, and minigames. It's not the worst game I've ever played, nor is it the worst game here. That one is next. But it's still a 3.5 at best. Pimp My Ride is the most basic, empty excuse for a console, let me clarify, console game I have ever seen. And I say that because I've seen mobile games from 2007 made by first year software students that are better than this. Pimp My Ride is of course based on the hit, was it a hit? I'm not exactly sure, but it's well known anyway. MTV TV show hosted by Exhibit, where the owner of a Banjax vehicle would have it pimped up to make it look cool and be fitted with all sorts of gadgets, with the unfortunate downside of making it heavier than an M1 Abrams tank. The game itself, it's just fetch quests in a vehicle. I'm not even lying, that is all this game is. Occasionally you'll have these sections where you have to press buttons that show on the screen to raise money for your pimpings, or the actual pimping itself, which just evolves. Yeah, I'm not even gonna complain about them anymore. This game also looks worse than GTA 3, which was released in 2001, and all this adds up to a solid 1.5 out of 10. So they are just some of the many licensed games produced over the years. Depending on how well you guys enjoy this one, I'll consider making another, but for now, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and it's time to see how much a kidney sells for. Oh shit, 22 grand?